I'm probably not the target audience for Dennis Strikes Again for two reasons. One, I'm 28, and two, I've never seen the first film, and I never watched Dennis the Menace as a child. I watched the CBBC animation, but I didn't watch the films. But actually, I quite thoroughly enjoyed this. It's one of those films that's silly and a bit ludicrous and will just make you forget about the troubles in the world. It's definitely a children's film, but there are several aspects of it that I thought were pretty engaging. This was released in 1998, directed by Charles T. Kanganis, and written by Jeff Schechter, and it has an absolutely brilliant cast. We have Don Rickles as George Wilson, George Kennedy as Grandpa, Justin Cooper as Dennis. He does a fantastic job, and the wonderful Betty White as Martha Wilson. The reason I wanted to watch this film was because George Wendt was in it. It turns out he is a policeman, and his role is uncredited. So thankfully, the film was actually worth watching despite the fact that he was barely in it. The description from IMDb is as follows. After a failed attempt to find the perfect birthday present for Mr. Wilson, the mischievous little terror Dennis tries to save him from a pair of swindlers and their bogus youth remedies. Will he manage to keep their friendship strong? Basically, Dennis's grandpa, comes to visit, or he actually comes to stay, and although he's obviously an older gentleman, he's actually quite fit and active. Whereas George, who is currently having a birthday and is suffering from all kinds of aches and pains, suddenly feels his own mortality, and he decides to do anything he can to feel and even be more youthful, to live up to Dennis's grandfather. And there's a bit of rivalry between them. Well, actually, that's not correct. Grandpa doesn't have any ill feelings towards Mr. Wilson, but Mr. Wilson definitely feels envious of Grandpa. And in a way, it's kind of like there are now two Dennises next door. And it's obviously very silly humour, a lot of visual entertainment, which is not usually my kind of thing. But because it's so well acted, and these fully grown men doing these very, bizarre things, it's a lot of fun to watch. And if you can kind of imagine what it would have been like on that set, I just imagine it would have been a barrel of laughs, and I would have really struggled to hold it together. It's a lot of fun. The acting, I think, is what kept me going. I have to say, Don Rickles as George Wilson is fantastic. Really brilliant. And Justin Cooper as Dennis is... I couldn't think of a more perfect casting choice. I have no idea what he is doing now. His last credited role on IMDb is for a character in a TV show called The Practice in 2003. There are quite a few child actors in this who are brilliant. Jacqueline Steiger plays Margaret, and she is fantastic. That character is so feisty and just absolutely brilliant. I thought she was very, very well acted. The children in this are brilliant. I have no issues with this whatsoever. There's some pretty fun editing in this that I hadn't expected. It's quite a short film. It's just over an hour. It's not the most intricate or innovative, but it's silly fun. And sometimes that's what we need. Certainly for children. Definitely would appeal to children. Absolutely, without question. It kind of has all of the hallmarks of a good, funny, silly children's film that just allows children to be children. Personally, as an adult, it's not usually my kind of film. But I think I was in the right mood and needed something easy and entertaining. And it fit the bill. Will I watch the first film? Maybe. One day. But Dennis Strikes Again was pretty good.